As someone who was bullied and ridiculed in animalistic ways for having big lips, it's a trend that I can't help but see in ways others may not.
Now, for people that want to get lip injections and stuff, I would say I highly want to recommend it, but I'm not to say you can't do what you want to do. It's a free world. Do whatever you want to do. Getting into it, everybody looks like a duck now.
Thanks, Kylie.
Oh, I'm up.
Squeamish about needles?
In the mirror, I feel more like myself. It's like I don't really need to do a full face of makeup as much.
I would have to say was probably my best experience. Stacey did a great job. I told her what I wanted.
Doctors will most likely use injections to correct pre-existing asymmetries in your lips, or to create a cupid's bow, the dip in the central upper lip that's considered youthful or desirable.
And she delivered.
You guys are the experts, so this is completely out of my bailiwick. But my question to you guys, because you both, do this, who tells people that enough is enough?
We're influenced by who we're around. So if you're around people with over-injected lips, that's going to become your new norm, and it's going to become normalized to you.
When I first got lip fillers, I really just got it because I was curious. Everybody was getting it, and I was getting offers to get it for free. Kind of wanted my lip to be a little bit more plump.
I don't understand why people go.
Their doctors do, and unfortunately, it's just like what we see in the face. The people rely on volume only in the face and keep inflating their faces, and they stop looking like themselves. So Ben makes such a great point that people, they want bigger lips, but they're just relying on fillers, and fillers over time, if you keep plumping those lips, you're going to create some really abnormal, unusual, and sometimes scary look. And to Ben, there's different types of fillers, primarily hyaluronic acid on the market. In your mind, what do you think is the worst offender when it comes to creating some of these overdone looks, lumpy looks, and looks where the material has moved?
You never want to use calcium hydroxyapatite, Radius, Sculptra, silicone, anything like that. You don't want to use those in the lips. But let's say you're in the good family of fillers. The biggest culprit I've seen of fillers that moves around, migrates, changes color of the lip into patchy, blotchy, weird whitish discoloration is actually Juvederm, which happens to be the most popular. And Juvederm is a great filler for hydration and the nasolabial folds for people who dissolve filler too quickly. It's a great filler for that, but it's not really indicated for the lip. However, in the US and all around the world, it's the most popular. And everyone says, how can it be bad for the lip if it's the most popular? And I say, well, look around. What's the reputation of plastic surgery? Is it something amazing, good, and clean that everybody loves? Or are people scared of plastic surgery because they look fake and weird? So you think back and you say, maybe it is everybody who's wrong.
Thanks, Kylie.
They added the word clan, a common term in Scotland, to the Greek phrase kuklos, and started each word with a K. The clan was born.
Thanks, Kylie. Are there any problems with the rising trend? What actually happens when you get lip fillers? Lip fillers are typically made from hyaluronic acid, which may be the safest option we have today, as hyaluronic acid is found naturally in our skin, regulating nutrients, hormones, and the movement of cells. It's unlikely that you'll have an allergic reaction to it upon injection. But how does it work? Although this type of procedure varies depending on the person's facial structure and their own goals, the most common procedure addresses a deflated vermilion or drooping around the upper lips. Upon injection, hyaluronic acid, which is a very polar sugar, physically fills the lips but also attracts your body's natural stores of water and moisture to create a plumper look.
Oh, I'm up.
Although it does take two to tango, why are practitioners filling lips to no end, even if they know it doesn't look good? We even see a lot of celebrities fall victim to this. Now you'd think they have access to the best doctors, the most well-known doctors. So maybe there's a problem with the currently accepted lip filler standards. Maybe it's time we relooked at those standards. Okay, Google, what is the normal amount of lip filler that one has?
1 milliliter of filler will give you a natural look.
My top lip was touching my nose, and it was then that I started to realise just how much pain I was in, and that it felt like a burning, throbbing, pulsating feeling, and it was as if my lips were just seconds away from bursting.
Rachel Napier is one of thousands of people in the UK who's had dermal filler injections, the cosmetic treatment which adds volume to the face. But for Rachel, the procedure she had at a friend's house by a beautician went terribly wrong.
The filler had been injected into an artery, and it's the artery that runs from the centre of your lip, sort of up here, so it was causing a mass blockage. Left untreated, that leads to necrosis, which is the death of the soft tissue on your lip. That's irreversible damage.
Rachel was able to find a clinic that could dissolve the filler and fix her lips. She's one of a growing number of people who've had fillers in the UK, but in an industry which is currently unregulated, what can be done to protect patients?
We should be using the smallest amount of filler possible in the lips simply to achieve balance and proportion between the upper and lower lip, and also between the lips and the rest of the face, and not simply just to enlarge them. Thankfully, hyaluronic acid fillers are reversible with an enzyme called hyaluronidase, and we have some popular YouTubers who've actually documented their story about how they've had their lip fillers dissolved, and you can see they do look a lot better after having them removed.
Lips come in a variety of different shapes and sizes, and ancestry often plays a role in lip size and our upper to lower lip ratios. In general, people of European and Caucasian ancestry tend to have thinner, more protrusive lips with the smallest upper lip volume and an upper lip that constitutes around a third of the total lip volume and a lower lip of around 2/3. People of Sub-Saharan, African, and East Asian ancestry share characteristics of larger lips that are more protrusive because of more soft tissue that surrounds their lips. And people of African ancestry, the upper and lower lip volumes can be nearly the same size or closer to a 1-to-1 ratio. So, with regard to respecting your unique anatomy, as cosmetic injectors, we're like sculptors in that we're dealing with faces which are three-dimensional, but we're not starting off with a blank sculpture. which we can just mold into any lip size and shape you desire. We can only work with what we have. Therefore, if you have very thin lips, I cannot give you Kerry Washington or Angelina Jolie lips. And if I tried, that's where we can get into trouble, which leads us to
tall, dark, with masses of dusky hair, a brilliant brunette complexion. He further says she has a queenly carriage and bearing. This young Italian girl looked like the traditional empress of a storybook romance. Let me bring your attention to the fact that, and I've said this before, that women of color in their beauty were celebrated prior to the early 20th century.
Let's talk about featurism. Featurism is the degradation of recognizable black features. For example, a broad nose, bigger lips, and coarse hair. Society would prefer European features over black features. People would literally praise those who mimic black features, but degrade us.
Ladies around the world pay a lot of money just to have structures like this. But in her case, she was used and abused even after her death for having this. The case of Sarah Baartman, also known as Hottentot Venus, is a typical case of another form of horrible African slavery experience. So many people do not know about Sarah Baartman, the lady with the largest buttocks, or the experience she had in the hands of her slave masters simply because she had a very large buttocks. How she ended up being exhibited as a freak show attraction in London and Paris, and what they actually did with her body after her death.
People would literally praise those who mimic black features, but degrade us.
I went to a majority white middle school. We had like a few black people, but most of the people were like white. To them, I was like an exotic animal because I had like big lips. They used to call me stuff like, oh, you're a monkey, you live in the jungle, like you belong in a zoo.
The Negro today is nothing more than an animal as he is living in our society, riding in the streets.
Like you belong in a zoo. So it kind of bothered me, and it became one of my new insecurities. I tried to hide my lips, and it happened like every single day at school. Like every time I ate, they would be like, you're a monkey.
Both men and women touched and made her a plaything. In fact, she was treated like an animal. In the month of September of the year 1814, Baartman was sold to Rao, a Parisian animal keeper in Paris, France.
You're a monkey, like he would say like I should have like a plastic surgery. And after school, I would always like cry. One time I told my mom, I want a plastic surgery because I don't like my lips. And she said, oh no, honey, your lips are beautiful, you're beautiful. So one time I went on YouTube and I looked up how to line your lips so they can look like smaller. It looked really real. So I went to school, I was like doing like strutting in the hallways, like wanted everybody to see my lips, my new lips, like look, my lips are thin like yours and everything. And then one of the 3 boys, he was like, look at your lips now.
In your hatred. But over the time they groom you into hating just about everything.
And remember, the niggers that are giving you all the trouble, white folk, are the educated niggers.
The fact that you hate something, they have an avenue and they'll start to mold you and groom you. It's brainwashing, and it takes a long time to get back from that.
He was like, look at your lips now. Monkey had a surgery, and they all started laughing. And this other boy was like, she outlined her lips. So they all started laughing at me, and I went to the bathroom, and I just started crying.
Name something on your face you wouldn't want to be too large.
Steve, we wouldn't want our lips to be too large. I said us. We weren't talking about you, Steve.
Well, you know, but you was looking right at me.
But I said us.
You know, but I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? You really on, you know, some advantages.
By the 1860s, African Americans began using blackface on stage. Why on earth would a black performer put on blackface and demean him or herself?
Look, this is the 19th century. They had limited options. They were expected to.
Why?
Because it made the audiences comfortable. You can be fascinated, you can be excited, but you can always feel superior.
In effect, the black makeup on a black performer became a theatrical mask with many layers of meaning.
I just said us because we don't have those advantages.
Well, but you know, maybe you should start dating a big lip man.
You know what? You're probably right. That's probably what I've been missing all my life.
Hello, but you're a big lip man, get yourself in a real situation.
Anyways, I really think from most people, you can tell, having big lips, you can do a lot of things. This is getting very sexual. Second pro is it's very trendy at this moment. Everybody wants them. Don't know why, because back in the day, people used to get made in front of having big lips. It is trendy. You will be part of a trendy, hip society world if you have big lips or if you get lip injections, which I don't recommend, but if you want to, just don't. Man, if you want to, do whatever you want to do. Who cares?
So in summary,
you know, some people say in order to move forward, we need to put this stuff behind us, as painful, as just upsetting that it may be.
Well, you know, any form of history that gets suppressed or repressed or erased out, it comes back to haunt. What has to happen now is a discussion, an acknowledgement of this charged, complicated, painful history.
If you've made it to the end of this video and you find any confusion within this compilation, I'd like to clarify what this means in my perspective. The captivating journey of lip injections is different for all walks of life, separate from race. However, this cosmetic trend has now shaped the world of beauty over the years. As someone who was bullied and ridiculed in animalistic ways for having big lips, it's a trend that I can't help but see in ways ways others may not. It is another avenue with the trend of wanting or having a small waist with big hips, big butt, which as explained was seen as a freak show. However, regardless of this, lips have been an ancient beauty practice beginning in ancient civilizations. Around 5000 BC, ancient cultures used natural ingredients like berries and pigments to enhance their lips to create a look of more allure as well as sensuality. Fast forward to the early 20th century, the beauty industry saw the emergence of early lip enhancement techniques, including wax injections, regardless of the risks and the limitations. In the 1960s, silicone injections gained popularity. While initially considering this to be safe, long-term complications and health concerns definitely arose, leading to the decline of their use. The real breakthrough came with the introduction of hyaluronic acid-based fillers. In the late 1990s, these fillers revolutionized lip injections due to making it safer and, of course, more effective. As the 2000s rolled in, lip injections gained mainstream popularity thanks to celebrities such as Kylie Jenner.
Thanks, Kylie.
And as well as pop culture itself. Fuller lips became a symbol of beauty and confidence. Today, lip injections have become an art form. Advanced techniques allowing for precise customization to achieve a plump pout as well as enhancing the cupid bow, which only 5% of women actually have naturally. While the trend has evolved, the focus should be shifted towards enhancing natural beauty with the aim to create harmonious, balanced results that boost natural confidence and self-esteem. As a Black woman, I'm fully aware that we are not the only race to have full lips, but we are the only race to be degraded for them in the past, as well as having wider hips and larger butts. So my perspective will always be forever skewed due to this. I'm positive I'm not the only one that feels this way. However, I wanted to show my perspective of what I see in the world as a Black woman when I see all these other races getting lip injections. If you've had similar experiences, let me know how this trend changed your previous insecurity of having big lips, or if you've had the opposite experience of having thin lips and feeling insecure about them. Ultimately, the goal should be to embrace our flaws without feeling or tending to societal pressures to be like everyone else. Well, that's about it. A very brief journey through the history of lip injections. If you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts, as well as if you would like more perspectives of how I see the world. Other than that, thank you guys for watching and listening.